colorectal cancer will be the #1 cause of cancer deaths amongst people under the age of 50 by the end of the decade. Data is showing that by 2030, colon cancer could spike by 90% in people ages 20 to 34, a young crowd. Rectal cancer could increase 124% in the same age group. So what is behind this disturbing trend? Joining me now, Dr. Marty Makary, Johns Hopkins professor of public health and a Fox News contributor. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. We'll get right to it. What is behind this spike?
Well, good morning, Bill. Yes, there's an increase in colon cancer. About 13% of colon cancer cases are in people under age 50. And so that's why the guidelines recently shifted. During COVID, the recommendation moved down to start colon cancer screening at age 45 instead of age 50. And an interesting study just came out getting as to why we might be seeing an increase in colon cancer in young people. The ideas have been maybe it's environmental, maybe it's the food that we eat. And this study looked at the microbiome, that is the millions of bacteria that normally line the GI system, and found that the microbiome was very different in young people with colon cancer compared to people who were over 65. We don't talk a lot about the microbiome, but it's probably the organ system that contributes to health that we need to study better. It's affected by whether or not you were born by a vaginal birth versus a C-section, whether or not you breastfed or bottle fed, whether or not you took antibiotics for no good reason. Antibiotics can save lives, but they're rough on the microbiome, and whether or not you eat whole good foods or processed foods loaded with sugar. Those are the ideas as to what changes the microbiome, and that disequilibrium of the microbiome may contribute to colon cancer.
And some pretty disturbing numbers, projections from the American Cancer Society, if we can pull these up. They're projecting that in 2023, there's going to be about 153,000 diagnoses of colorectal cancer with nearly 53,000 deaths. Just to put that in perspective for viewers, that's, filling up a MLB baseball stadium. For anybody watching right now who's concerned about this and thinks maybe I got to go get checked, or what's your advice? What's the best way to prevent this?
Well, the temptation is to start colonoscopy screening very early, but there's no good data to support starting it before age 45. Now, there's another way you can test for colon cancer. It's a DNA test. Commercial products like Cologuard allow you to test for cells that slough off that may be cancer cells, but the false positive rate can be high, and that means you need to go for a colonoscopy if you have a positive test. So those are some things, but otherwise basic monitoring for symptoms, things like blood in the stool or abdominal pain or weight loss that's unexplained.
Dr. Marty Makary, we thank you for your expertise and your insight as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
And it's important to go and get those checks.